Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Spotify has 180 million monthly users and access to 35 million songs and podcasts. Now, all those offerings are going to have to move over and make room for GabNet programming. Yes, at long last, Alex Bennett's Ramble, Damian Chaplin's Exchange, Jack Bishop's The Intersection, and even the franchise MC's Arena and Michael Snyder's weekly movie reviews will be fighting for space on this massive platform. Each day, the programs are updated, so you can hear them on the Spotify app, available for all smartphones and game consoles. Or you can just go to Spotify on the web at spotify.com. So, give us a shot on Spotify. There's a 35 million to 5 chance we'll get people to listen to talk like they've never heard it before. We're GabNet, and we've got you covered live 5 nights a week. First Tuesday through Friday at 9:30 Eastern, it's The Exchange.
Harlan Ellison totally insisted that there were no sounds in space on Babylon 5. Watching it for 20 minutes will clearly show that there are sounds in space. So what the fuck are you pulling this out of, Mr. Harlan Ellison? That pretty much cemented the idea of who Harlan was in my brain.
Tuesday through Friday at 10 Eastern. Join Alex Bennett on The Ramble.
You don't think Bill Clinton's a pervert?
No, I don't.
Go ahead.
No, I really don't. I think I think he's a man who let his dick talk for him. You know, I think he's a guy who was pursued by a young woman and should have said no, but he didn't. Now, the only woman I ever talked to that fucked Bill Clinton was Jennifer Flowers. She kept saying during the interview, you know, I really did have sex with Bill Clinton. And I asked her the question, I said, that's not what's important to me. What's important to me was he a gentleman? And she said, he was terrific. She said, every time we'd have sex, the next day he would call and see if I was okay. He never dodged my calls if I wanted to call him. He was an absolute gentleman.
Tuesday through Friday at midnight, The Intersection.
We now know that Trump doesn't hate all Democrats. He at least likes the Democrats who he perceives to be as crooked as he is.
Ah, wait a minute, ring that bell!
I mean, between Menendez and Blagojevich, you know, who he pardoned.
Mm-hmm. If you like sports, we've got that too, with The Arena, Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
There's a lot of long-ass games come knockout round because they have to finish. So you have to play up to 120 minutes plus a penalty shootout. Kick.
Catch up on all the shows with our weekend flashback. All shows have the Citizen Panel, an exclusive concept of GabNet. It's new, it's daring, it's talk like you've never heard it before. Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey everybody, this is Alex and this is The Ramble and we're here until midnight Eastern Time. That's when we're live, and as we like to do at least once a week, we like to check in with an old friend. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the funniest men in the universe. Now the pressure's on, isn't it, huh?
Yeah, now, especially since 3 billion people are doing stand-up now.
Larry Bubbles Brown. Well, that's not as bad as the podcast world, in which there are like 300,000 podcasts.
Oh, yeah. Strangers in the street. Hey, you want to do my podcast?
Yeah, right. Everybody goes, I started a podcast. I hear all these people on like MSNBC. I've got a podcast. Yeah, you and who else?
Exactly.
There's a guy, but the thing that happens is every year my audience gets smaller and smaller because there's so many people out there, rambling around. So I don't know. I give up.
Well,
so
hey, I would just say, I like to think about anniversaries, and I was thinking the last Friday of January of '87, I came back to New York to do a Letterman run-through, and you were broadcasting from, I don't know if you remember this, you were broadcasting from New York that week.
Yeah. Which one? I guess we were at ABC, maybe?
Yeah. And you had, was Bob Guccione on?
Bob Guccione Jr.
Yeah, Jr., right.
Jr., who got, his father was a real asshole. To him, what he did was I think he wouldn't invest in his venture that he wanted to start called Spin Magazine. You remember Spin Magazine?
Yeah.
And it actually became a very big magazine.
Yeah, it was popular. Yeah,
but Dad wouldn't finance it, so he did it all on his own and made it successful. And he and Dad hardly ever talked. They hated each other. So. But I think towards the end they had some kind of reconciliation, but that always happens. You can't stay mad at your dad forever.
I guess not. Y'all also on that show was Wendy Williams.
Wendy O. Williams.
O. Williams, yeah.
Let's not
the late Wendy O. Williams, not
the talk show host.
Oh my God, that show is. Talk about unwatchable, but oh my God!
Well, I get why she's popular. I just don't dig her that much. But now we have to say nice things about her because she's got Graves' syndrome, and she's in the hospital.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So
we'll lay off then.
So lay off Wendy Wendy Williams. Wendy O. Williams was on that show.
She was nice. I remember she was kind of cool.
Well, everybody her image was taking chainsaws to Cadillacs or something, but in real life, she was one of the sweetest, nicest, really just, I loved her dearly. I really did. She just had such a nice aura about her, and her greatest pleasure was they lived up like in upstate New York or maybe up in Connecticut, I can't remember. She and Rod Swenson, who was her Svengali and husband, and she used to like nothing more than to go out into the woods and feed the animals. Now that's so counter to that whole image of Wendy O. Williams, and I was driving after the show. I was driving out of the studio in a cab or something, and I see this really cute little woman walking down the street, and I look at her, and she's just adorable. And I realize it's Wendy. It's like this entirely different persona. I mean, if you can imagine Wendy O. Williams being cute, she was, and I just adored her. I just thought she was the best. And I had known them for a long time. I knew them back to the Midnight Blue days because Wendy and Rod were running sex shows on 42nd Street, and they were making videos of things like Wendy O and another woman rolling around and having sex with each other in 100 pounds of peanut butter.
Jesus.
And I realized, I said to Rod one day, I'm editing this stuff, Rod, this is art. And he looked at me and went, no shit. I said, what do you mean? He says, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm bringing art to 42nd Street. I'm bringing it in a form that those audiences can understand. And sure enough, all the stuff he was doing were these little art pieces, but with people fucking. And she was one of the people. In fact, I inherited some photographs, and one of the photographs I have is of Wendy O. Williams performing on stage naked on 42nd Street. And then they went out and started this group called the Plasmatics, and went into punk rock, and she became a sensation. And
yeah, she was pretty big.
at any time when anybody would bring up the porn stuff, they go, "Sure, we did that," And because she had this reputation, nobody ever held it against her. So it fit in with what they thought of her. But she was just, I thought she was just adorable. And I'm glad you felt the same way. You found that she was very nice.
Yeah, she was really nice to me.
Yeah. She's very nice to everybody. And she wound up committing suicide. She went out to the same area where she used to feed all the animals and took a gun and blew her brains out.
Ugh.
And I came back to New York City to give a eulogy at her memorial. They did at CBGB's. And I gave a little speech about her and what I knew about her. And I think I said some of the things I just said to you that, counter to her persona, this was a sweet, wonderful woman. And it's true. It really was sweet and wonderful. And who else? Anybody else on that show that you remember? Nah.
I think you might have had, it might have not been, maybe it was that day. You had Dan Rather?
That was at CBS. So where were we? Were we on 57th Street or were we on West End Avenue? That's the question.
West End, yeah.
West
I remember
End.
that.
Well, then that was
I
ABC.
walked over there. I was staying at the Blackstone Hotel, and I trudged over.
So it was. You were not on 57th Street then. Okay.
I remember West End sounds very familiar.
Well, then Dan Rather was one of the other times when we did it out of the CBS studios in New York, and I think that maybe you were here for that too. So. But you would remember more than I. Because you have
31 years ago.
You have a memory that won't let anything go.
Well, I don't know.
You got so much stuff stuffed in that cranium of yours.
It all stops at around 95, though.
It stops
anything
around.
After that is not.
Really?
I can't remember anything the last 15 years.
How's your memory today? I mean, when it comes to I see somebody on TV, I can't remember the name of the star. I just can't. And it's like girlfriend and I both in this pre-dementia state saying to each other, isn't he the guy that was in that thing?
Yeah, I have a lot of problems, and that's very common. You start to lose, you can't remember names.
Yeah. Well, I've always been terrible at names.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So Mr. Rain Man here, who seems to be able to remember every name.
The dates are more. I'm good on dates. Names not horrible.
You are very good on dates. Like for instance, when you came and did my show out of ABC, okay? Mm-hmm. Can you tell me the date?
It was a Thursday. It was the last Thursday of January of '87. So 5. 12, 26 was a Monday, 27, 20, it would have been in the 29th.
The 29th. Wow. Son of a bitch. I'm going to have to, I don't know if I have any tapes of that.
See if you can find that. And
because if I had the tapes of it, there would be a date on them. But let me see if I can find it. I don't know that I've come across the tapes of New York yet. So,
that'd be great if you got them. I remember Guccione was talking about he was very worried about censorship of comedians and writers and everything. And mostly because of the PC crap that was it was around then, and he was very worried about that.
Yeah. So but I guess he didn't talk much about his father.
No, I don't remember talking about that at all.
Bob Guccione, best description I ever heard of Bob Guccione. Somebody said that Hugh Hefner came along, started Playboy, and showed you could have great literature, and then you could have naked women periodically throughout this great literature, and it would sell. And Bob Guccione came along and proved you didn't need the literature.
True.
So that was Guccione in a nutshell. he took his greatest thing was he did a movie called Caligula. And it wasn't, of course, meant to be a porn film, but what he did is after the actors left, he created these orgy scenes, hardcore orgy scenes, and threw them into the film, so it really became a very expensive porn film. And all the people who were in it went, well, gee, I didn't sign up for a porn film. And it was like Malcolm McDowell, John Gielgud, you know, actors like that. I think Helen Mirren, I think, was even in it. And then when they left, they went and filmed all the porn scenes, and then they threw them in there, and then they threw cutaway shots of the actors looking at it, you know. So anyway, that was Guccione's big movie thing, and it did okay. It actually made a lot of money for him. But as the years went on, I think the magazine started to kind of flounder. And Playboy, where's Playboy today? Is it still around?
Is it still around? I thought they were going, or maybe they did away with their centerfolds. Was that it?
Yeah, but they're online, I think. You know, so I really don't know what's happened to Playboy. I don't see. In fact, when's the last time you saw a newsstand? You know, maybe you can go.
Yeah, you see, if you go into Safeway, though, there's a little rack that'll have a few magazines on it.
Yeah, but what I'm asking is, remember, on a corner, there would be newspapers and magazines and things like that. Where are those? Do they have them anymore?
I think the Internet's killed that.
Yeah. So, you know, when I say I haven't seen a Playboy recently, it's because I don't think I've bumped into any of these newsstands. I'm sure that if we still had newsstands, there would be one in my neighborhood, and I don't know if one in my neighborhood. But yes, you're right. You can go into like a drugstore or whatever, and they have some magazines on a rack, and that seems to work out okay, you know. But
I love the old newsstand.
Oh yeah, who doesn't? But that's you and I, and that's not the kids today. The kids today don't really give a crap about that. So, you know, whatever. I just had to put tissue in my nose because I started getting a bloody nose for no apparent reason. Must be my cancer.
Your cancer. Bloody nose, first symptom.
You know, years ago, I keep telling this story about Little Richard. And he was supposed to do an interview with me. And I get a call, he can't do it. And I said, why? He said, because he says he has a touch of the cancer.
A touch?
Now, I've heard of a touch of the cold. I've heard a touch of a lot of things, but I never heard of the term, the touch of the cancer. Oh, really? That's all that's happening is you just have a touch of the cancer. Well, that's good. That's nice to know. I mean, ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
So you didn't get to interview him?
No. So what I think I have now is a touch of the cancer. I think there actually is such a thing. Because what happened was last time I talked to you, I guess I was going to have the test. And then I had the test, and the numbers went up on my PSA, and the free PSA was low, which is bad. So there's according to the results, there's an 85% chance I have cancer. Now, my doctor says, well, that's bullshit that they put that on there, on the results, he said, because, you know, you could either be lower than the PSA number and your other number could be higher. You know, they changed from PSA test to PSA test.
Right.
But he said, no problem. He says, if you have, if we find out that you have cancer, it is, he says, he doesn't see it when he uses the finger and when he uses the little, what do you call the thing when a woman tries to find out if she's what the sex of the baby is? Sonogram. He does a sonogram on my prostate. He doesn't see anything except calcium deposits. And he says, so I don't see anything, but he said, you could have a low flying cancer, as it were. So I went, okay, well, I said, what do we do for that if that's the case? He says, you come in every month, we give you a hormone shot, and that kills whatever growth there is in the prostate, and you keep doing that, and for 10, 15 years, you won't see anything growing, really, to any great amount. So he said it's kind of like there was this show called The Kaminsky Method, which I'm sure you don't have Netflix, but is very good with Alan Arkin and Michael Douglas. And Danny DeVito plays a urologist, and the line in it is Alan Alda says, he says, do you know of a good urologist? He says, there's no such thing as a good urologist. Everybody hates their urologist. But he says, I have one that's okay. So he sends him to Danny DeVito, and Danny DeVito says, well, we did the biopsy. We're going to do a biopsy, and you can either have a snail. What was the second thing you mentioned? Something, or a rabbit. And he said, he says, rabbits are really nice. They're furry and fluffy. He says, no, but that's the one you don't want to get, because that's the fast cancer. He said, but if you get the snail, you just take care of it. You just go on with your life. In fact, most guys don't get PSA tests after they're 75, and most guys, 70% of you out there, guys, will get prostate cancer. Yeah. But it's not the big C. It's the really tiny, insignificant C. So he says, that's, if you have it, that's what you've got. And he said, that's easily taken care of. Yeah.
So. One shot, that's pretty easy.
Yeah. Unless my coverage only says 2 shots a year and I got to pay for the other 10, But we'll see. I'm sure my insurance takes care of that, But so I have a touch of the cancer. I may have a touch. I don't know. I may have a touch of the cancer. It's nothing. But start the rumor, everybody. Alex has cancer, would you? Just so it gets out into the stratosphere, so those people who treated me like shit can feel bad. Anyway, yeah, and it's
send you money.
It's a good excuse for me, because when girlfriend says, "Would you take out the garbage?" I say, "Well, nah, I've got cancer.
I got a touch of the cancer.
I got a touch of the cancer." Oh man!
A great phrase. So little Richard is credited with that phrase.
Yeah, I'm little Richard.
A touch.
Yeah. So what's new in the world of Larry? Well, I shouldn't ask. Nothing's happening, right?
Nothing's happening other than the Kaminsky method. I just being a powerful member of the Screen Actors Guild, I actually got a copy. They just sent me a copy of that. So
watch it. It's terrific. It is terrific. In fact, I'm watching it a second time. It is that good. It's well written. It's well done. Alan Arkin and Michael Douglas are incredible together. We had a big problem with the Screen Actors Guild. Well, you're a member of SAG, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which, by the way, good insurance. I'm SAG as well. I'm SAG-AFTRA. You don't call it SAG anymore. It's SAG-AFTRA.
Yeah, they merged.
Well, we got in on their medical plan, their senior medical plan, which takes care of the overage from Medicare, and it's terrific. And it's available to you whether you've worked a lot or not. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
So I could be over.
So how old are you now?
I'm on Medicare.
You're on Medicare. Well, you know what I would do? I would check with SAG. You're probably paying a supplemental, right? To get a supplemental to take care of the other 20%, right?
I'm not. No, I didn't. But
oh, I see. So you pay that other 20% out of your pocket.
I pay the other. Yeah.
Well, what I would do is I would get a hold of SAG-AFTRA and ask them about it. You can actually, I think there's a number for their health plan.
Yeah, I've got all that.
Check it out. Check it out. It's well worth it. It's well worth it. All those years of paying money into AFTRA and not working under AFTRA finally paid off for me.
You got something out of it. Jeez, yeah.
So you still a member of SAG?
I am. I did a little thing last year. I had to re-sign up. So,
what did you do last year?
There's this little pilot they shot here that went nowhere, but I had a little part in that.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good.
So I get the screen. So I get the screen. They send you the SAG. What's the SAG Awards? So they send you all the movies for that because they want you to vote for them.
So how much? Yeah. Well, I'm just voted last night, as a matter of fact. So you get all the movies, and I go on.
Yeah, you should be getting the movies.
Well, I go online to get the movies.
Okay.
They have a service.
They're sending me the disc
where you can use your Apple TV, and you can actually go online and watch it that way.
Well, we know how good that would work with my technology.
Well, what's great about it is that I don't like to sit there and watch a movie on a computer screen.
Yeah, I don't either.
Right, I like to lie there in bed and be there with the TV set, and watch this whole thing going on. So anyway, we voted last night. We went and made our choices, and this year, I got to tell you, some of the categories we didn't know who to vote for because they were all terrible. I can't remember what category we hit. I think it was it was best ensemble, because there's one category which gives a prize to the entire cast.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like Black Panther, Bohemian Rhapsody. It was a bunch of films that really sucked. And I think we gave it to the one that was not the least bad. Okay, but we did our voting because we watched all the films already.
Did you watch The Marvelous Mrs.?
That Mrs. Maisel is on Netflix, and we of course watched that. You probably got a copy of it, right?
I watched. I heard good things about it. I watched the first episode. It didn't really do much for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It just seemed like the dialogue was almost too cutesy, and I don't know. Well, I like Tony Shalhoub.
But they only send you one episode?
Yeah, I only got one so far.
Oh, okay. Well, it's really good. I
so
like
good.
the show.
Okay.
Now this is I guess the second season they sent you, maybe, or the first season. I can't remember.
First.
Or the first. I liked it a lot, but maybe it's too Jewish for you.
I always felt Jewish, so I don't know.
I don't know. I always think of you as a raging Gentile, but that's okay.
Raging Gentile. That'd be a great name for an album.
Raging Gentiles. Yes. Oh boy, I'm telling you.
Hey, so I watched the Kaminsky, so that's good.
Kaminsky method is terrific. It is terrific. I mean, it's got a lot of memorable lines. But my favorite was Alan Alda's wife dies. That's no secret because she dies in the first episode, and they have the funeral, and then after the funeral, they have the food, serving food at his home and everything, and everybody's there. And the rabbi comes over and says, you're supposed to you're supposed to cover all the mirrors in the house. And Alan Alda says, well, I'm not that kind of Jew, all right? And the rabbi gives him a dirty look, and he says, well, I'm so sorry for your loss. And Alda looks at him and says, try the shrimp. They're terrific. This is written by Chuck Lorre, who brought you Big Bang Theory. Hey, listen, we've run out of time here.
Run out of time, but
we'll talk to you next week.
Time flies when you got a touch of the cancer.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Bubs.
Thanks, Alex.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GABA, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey, everybody. How are you? I just turned the light on. It says on the air, because if I don't do that, girlfriend, if she sees it, will give me a bad time. Well, listen, my mic now makes noise because I don't have it on tissue paper anymore. Ugh. The things I do for show business, right? Anyway, hey, listen, before we start off tonight with maybe our some kind of show here and go to our citizen panel, which let me do something here. Let me just bring up Skype so that I'm not going to turn it on yet, but let me just, yeah, there we go. All right. So let me tell you what happened to me. The other day on Saturday, Marjorie remembered that we had a Broadway show to go to. And we had forgotten completely about it. And we considered for a brief moment not going because, you know, she's got a bad leg. And then on top of that, she had the brain concussion. It turned out it really was a concussion. But we decided to go to the theater anyway, and the show won the Tony Award for Best Musical a few years back, and it was called Dear Evan. What's the last name? I can't remember the title of it. But anyway, it was good. It was okay. It's not my kind of musical, but it was good. And we were going to it, and we're walking through Times Square, which is just disgusting now. You know, all these lights that are just too bright. You know, it used to be the Great White Way, you know, the lights of Broadway. And what they were things that neon that said, you know, little bulbs that said the Lyceum Theater and things like that. And it had a real gusto to it. Now it's just these big, huge, flat panels just blaring out. It's like daylight in the middle of Times Square. So anyway, I thought I would shoot a little bit of this so I could show you how terrible it looks. And while I'm shooting it, something happened. Let me show you the video. This is turned into real shit show. Broadway used to be so wonderful. Now, it's not. Here we go. Oh! Oh! What happened? I fell. That's okay. It's all right. You okay? Oh, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. You okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right?
And that was what happened to me. How about that, huh, folks? Oh, man. So you say, well, Alex, did you hurt yourself? And I nothing hurt, actually. I got up and I started walking and everything seemed to be fine. And the next day, my heel is hurting me and my arm is hurting me. And so all the things and it's still aching, right? And here it is Tuesday already. It's still aching. I didn't have any, you know, terrible, horrible, disgusting, vile thing happened to me, but I'm beat up. So anyway, but I'm alive, and I guess that's good. Okay, I guess we can call that a win. But that in case you are listening to us on audio only, I took a really big plots in the. I really should have handed the iPhone over to Marjorie and let her just show me, but I got a bruise on my knee, and then the next day the arm was aching, and the heel of my foot is still. I think I bruised it. It doesn't look like it. You can't see anything, but it was something else. It really was, and yeah, fuck. It just never gets better, you know? And then on top of that, you get maybe a touch of the cancer, and before you know it, game over. All right. Anyway, and then girlfriend today lost her wallet. Now, that's the worst thing that can happen to you is losing your wallet. Not because you lost your wallet, but because you have to replace everything in that wallet, the credit cards, and then there's always stuff you forgot. You know, then your driver's license. She already was able to get a temporary one online, And she has a passport, so she can use that as ID if she needs it. But she has to go get credit cards, and she's waiting a little bit because she wants to see if maybe it shows up. You know, she called all the various places she thought it might be, but it wasn't anywhere. So anyway, that was a really terrible thing for her. Anyway, the lines are open and nobody's calling. So am I going to sit here tonight and this is going to be the night nobody calls? Could be. Could be. My nose is dripping, so I should probably blow it. I've been spending all weekend with that new computer, which I got came, when did it come? It came last Friday. It was supposed to come tomorrow, and it came last Friday, and it's really been working well. Here, I'm going to blow my nose, so I'm going to cut the mic here for a second. Oh. Okay. It's Brian Ludwig, ladies and gentlemen. See, already we get somebody. Let me see here. Why are you... What is that? I have no idea what that is. Hold on a second. Let me... Are you there? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Wait a moment, he says. Okay. You know. Let me see here. Hello, are you there? Are you going to talk to us? Here comes Rob Alfano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Here comes Rob Alfano.
Hello.
Yep. Hi, Rob. Hello. Hello there.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I saw your spill. Wow. Did you just trip over like a curb or something?
I don't know what I tripped over exactly. I think I did. I think what I did is I walked off the curb and it kind of like made me unbalanced and I fell. And the phone dropped and everything, but didn't break or anything. And I didn't, I hit my knee and everything, but unlike girlfriend, I didn't break it. So, you know.
Every time the computer restarts, my computer restarts, it always resets the Skype default to default communication device and not to my Yeti microphone.
Yeah.
So it's peculiar, but at least it's something I know to expect.
Yeah.
Anyway, hello, Rob.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah.
Not too bad.
In fact, you know what happens? Sometimes when Windows resets itself, it screws up all my inputs and outputs and everything. But
and much like a cock, they want to ram down your throat or up your ass. They want you to take those updates sometimes.
Well, no, you're forced to take the updates.
That's what I mean. It's like a cock. They can't wait to jam up your ass, whether you want them to or not.
If you sign off, it just says update. You know, at least there's one thing about Apple. It does give you the option whether you want to update something or not. But with Windows, you have to update. That's it. You know, there's, you know. And, hey, you know, you bought their goddamn operating system. Shouldn't they be at your beck and call? Those fucking mother assholes lie. Hello, Phil.
Greetings.
Are you someone?
Yeah, they should be at my beck and call because I'm the customer.
Yeah, but they don't give a shit at Microsoft. They never.
You of all people on here know that, considering all the shit you're going through with Skype.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, but you know, whatever. So, how you doing, Phil?
I'm doing all right. So you're in the first stages of cancer. You start falling, losing wallets, things like that.
No, I didn't lose the wallet.
I know, but it was
somebody
close.
Near you loses a wallet. That's another sign of cancer.
Now, is this the second time, or was the other lost wallet yours?
Well, one day there was a knock on the door, and it's a guy, and he said, "I found your wallet on the street," and I didn't even know it fell out of my pocket. He said, I noticed that you lived right here, so I came up and it said what apartment you lived at, so here I am to give you your wallet back. And I thanked him, and he left so fast I didn't even get to give him some money or something for it.
Wow.
But so that's the only time I've lost mine, but I think she lost hers once before, too. You know.
Yeah.
One of the worst feelings in the world, losing your wallet.
Well, you know, that's why there should be some kind of service they have where if you lose your wallet, you have this insurance and they go out and they replace everything for you fast.
You should be able to upload your driver's license and social security card into the cloud.
Well, Marjorie got her driver's license.
Doesn't that sound a little bit dangerous.
Well, Rob, look at it this way: we already are being tracked. So if they have so if the government comes up with some proprietary algorithm with which to safeguard our information, it's just different. It's a different hat, but on the same head.
Yeah, but the fact is that we have no real problem with these things, except that what needs to happen is maybe something where, like she went online, she got her driver's license, or she got a temporary copy of her driver's license, so she needs to drive or something, she can use that, she can drive on that. All our insurance cards are also online, so we downloaded them all, and she cut them out of the piece of paper and put them in the wallet she doesn't have yet. And but now she's got to do the credit card thing, and that's what the pain in the ass is, because she has like all her bills being paid by credit cards, and by whatever. And it's like if I lost my credit card, there'd be a lot of different things I would have to go to and remember each and every one of them. And
you'll remember it when you get a bill saying you haven't paid it.
When you get a thing saying your card isn't working.
On that we can agree.
But you think you got everything, and then there's something you didn't get.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. I'm thinking about doing what you did or recommended, that you use PayPal to pay all the automatics, and so you have one card. So if something happens, all you have to do is change which card pays the PayPal bills.
Well, that
I use my checking account to do all that, online banking, so I don't use I try not to use credit cards for that stuff. For that purpose.
I want the miles.
Yeah, I like the miles too. Yeah. We're greedy for our miles.
Yeah, exactly.
They always expire on me. I never really wind up using them.
You don't fly once in a while.
I fly twice, 3 times a year. Not enough to really get anything.
Mine don't expire that much.
Yeah,
like American Airlines, I've had it expire on me there, and it pissed me off. And
I've had it expire on United because I stopped flying United, but I'm flying American, and I've been accumulating. I have their executive card, which gives you the Admirals Club as well as miles and early boardings. So, I'm trying to, get it up to maybe 100, 150,000 miles so I can go to Australia.
I have 250,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have a United card, and everything I buy on that card goes towards the miles.
Yeah.
Every $1 a mile?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if every $1's a mile.
Sometimes it's more than $1 they give you. But 250,000 miles, you're probably able to go first class Europe for 2 people round trip.
Probably.
Yeah.
And we're thinking of using those eventually once we decide to travel, but we're too old to travel.
Yeah.
But you want them miles. Can you sell them?
No, I don't think so.
You're too old to
with them.
Yeah, you can sell miles, but you're too old to walk, not travel.
Yes. Oh, the name of the show, the Broadway show, is Dear Evan Hansen, I think it was called. And it's amazing what they charge for a Broadway show ticket now.
Oh, yeah. But if you think about it,
you've
got musicians and actors.
Well, she paid $190 a ticket. And I say the same thing you say. You got musicians, and you got the crew and the cast and everything.
Yeah,
and then
it's a big deal.
Well, the cast here was only 7 or 8 people, and the orchestra was only like about 5 or 6 people.
Yeah, but you got the lighting people, you got the venue.
I think it's worth it. I mean, I think it's worth it.
But I think for $190 a person, I think I'd like a full-sized orchestra.
Okay.
All right. Or sometimes they have half an orchestra and the other half is pre-recorded.
Yeah,
Jersey
like that.
Jersey Boys is going to be coming to my area, or it just came to my area.
Good.
Is that worth seeing?
No? I don't, did Marjorie like it or didn't she like it? It's what we call in New York, since you don't live here anymore. We call that a bridge and tunnel show.
Mm.
It's one of those concepts that makes the tourist want to go to it. So
I saw the movie. I didn't care for it.
Well, that was a movie, not of the stage play, I don't think, or the musical. But
it was an adaptation of the stage play.
Also, I don't like those musicals where they take music that already exists. Like Slayton took us to see Beautiful, the Carole King musical.
Oh, yeah.
So really what you've got is somebody doing a tribute to Carole King.
So it's like a Vegas act. Huh?
Nobody's writing any original music, you know. I'd like a musical where there are original songs and things like that. You know, it makes life worthwhile.
Nobody can write anything anymore.
Yeah.
One of the last shows I saw was Starlight Express.
Oh, God.
You remember that one where they rollerbladed or roller skated into the audience?
Yeah. God. I'll say it again. Oh, my fucking God.
Yeah, nobody can do it like a steam train. You didn't like that one, huh?
No, I didn't want to see it. The whole concept, it sounded so stupid to me.
Oh, it was good. The music was good.
And
to me, the heyday of Broadway is over.
The day of Broadway is over.
The heyday.
Yeah.
They just there's no more Rodgers and Hammerstein, Rodgers and Hart. Who are the other big ones who do the Broadway shows today? It's a lot of, they're revivals and things like Jersey Boys and Beautiful by Carole King and all that.
Yeah, all that kind of bullshit. Well, I'll tell you, the one show we saw a couple of years ago that I really liked was When Things Were Rotten. And it's a musical about the invention of the musical. It's this guy who's the who lives in Shakespeare's time, and he considers Shakespeare like this guy who's got everything, and he wants it too. And so somebody says, why don't we write a play, but everybody sings all the words, And so it's a funny, very funny. It was very funny comedy.
Sounds like a bar mitzvah.
It was a great show. Great show. So I loved it. But anyway, and then we saw this Dear Evan Hansen, and it's an interesting show. The storyline is original and interesting. But I kept saying to Marjorie, I said, do you think we're going to hum any of these songs when we leave the theater?
Yeah.
Because none of them were memorable at all. And then I said to her, come to think of it, they all sound like the same song being sung over and over again. But there was something about it that was, I'll tell you, it was very good. The staging was terrific. And it was a very good musical, but not my kind of musical. And so
what do you consider, like Fiddler or West Side Story?
I like stuff like When Things Were Rotten. I liked Book of Mormon. Things that have a sense of humor about them. I also saw, what was the one about the girl? What's the name of it now? It's based on, I think, a Roald Dahl book, if I'm not mistaken. And her name starts with an M. I'm trying to remember the name of the show. And I love that show. That show was terrific. See, I can't even remember the name of it. Marjorie, if you're listening to this, call me and wake me up and tell me what the show was, will you?
Yeah, sure.
Because she'll be listening to this tomorrow. What was it? It wasn't Madeline. It was, oh, God. What was the name of it? Fuck. Well, somebody. Any Broadway maven out there who can tell me what the name of the show was? But it was really good.
My granddaughter would know.
Yeah, it was really good. But it's funny. For all the time I lived in New York, I didn't go to Broadway shows that often.
Yeah.
But I tell you what I did to David Feldman once. Oh, David, I come back from New York, having spent a week in New York on vacation, and I come back, and he said, "Did you go to see any Broadway shows?" And I went, "No." He said, "You went to New York and you didn't go to see any Broadway shows? How can you go to New York and not see Broadway shows?" And now for the next month, he's berating me for having gone to New York and not seen any Broadway shows.
Did you ask him if he saw any?
Well, oh, yeah, of course. He goes to Broadway and he sees the shows. So about a year later, I go to New York. And I think at the Carnegie Delicatessen, and as we're walking out, I noticed it on the ground is this playbill, because, when at the theaters, you're handed a playbill with the picture, the artwork for the show, and then inside it tells, who's in the show and everything like that. And I said to my friend Steve, who was alive at the time, I said, where could we get more of these? It was on the bathroom of the Carnegie that I found this thing. Okay, he said, "Well, the shows are breaking up right now. Everybody's leaving. They're probably littered all over the place." So we went down and on Broadway into Theater Row, and sure enough, the ground was littered with these playbills. So we pick up about 20 of these things. And so I put them in my suitcase, and I bring them back to San Francisco, and I have Feldman on the show. And the first thing he says to me is, "So you went to New York. Did you see any Broadway shows?" And I take out these 20 playbills, and I plop them on the table and say, "There!" And he actually thought I had gone to see all of them. So
the place to go to, everybody says, is to London.
Yes, I was thinking that myself.
Yeah, it's supposed to be very good.
That's where I saw Starlight Express.
You went to London and saw the worst musical.
It wasn't bad. I liked it.
What's his name? The guy I can't stand. Did Phantom of the Opera and what's his name?
Rodgers and Hammerstein?
No. The guy with
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't like his stuff. It's really. But he did Starlight Express. I believe that was his. Yeah. So whatever.
It was nice.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'll
trust you. I'll trust you for Broadway theater, Phil.
Oh yeah. Well, no, it was in London.
We have Snyder doing movie reviews. Would you like to do theater reviews on Gabnet?
Yeah, I'd have to go to a couple of plays.
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah.
You could submit the bills to Gabnet. You can write them all.
Bill.
Yeah,
I could give them a playbill.
Yeah. There you go.
Let me just for a moment tell you that when you pay $190 for a seat, that seat should be, by virtue of $190, one thing if it is nothing more. And what is that, gentlemen?
Comfortable.
Broadway. You know what I'm talking about, right, Jeff? You could.
Yep.
I've gotten
leg room and ass room.
I've gotten cramps in my legs from sitting.
You know why they do that? So you won't fall asleep. I saw Madame Butterfly in Australia at the Sydney Opera House.
Why do I believe you?
You want to talk about uncomfortable seats? These were like sitting on concrete bleachers, and it was awful.
I remember Book of Mormon when we went to see it. It's a fairly long show, and by the end of the third act, literally, I was cramping. I had to stand up, and people were going, "Sit down, sit down. We can't see the show." I'm going, "Cramp! I have to stand on my foot." That's how bad those seats were. Now, I've been in some other theaters where the seats are really nice. Some of the newer
ones, yeah. Is there a Ford theater or something like that?
Lincoln used to go there.
No. There's a theater. There's a theater in New York. I thought it was named after a car. I thought, but I was very surprised because typically the old theaters, I think they're built for a time when people were just smaller.
I don't think so. I think that they were not made comfortable because comfort was not important because they were selling tickets so cheaply and they just wanted to fit as many people as possible into those theaters. And you're right, they were a little smaller. People were a little smaller. But these seats are just, the ones in this theater the other night, dear Evan Hansen, were just ghastly.
It's terrible.
So bad.
And now, are they protected by, by the preservation societies, these places, that they can't really upgrade them?
Well, they could upgrade the seats. Preservation doesn't, preservation only extends
the exterior of the building.
Exterior of the building. Like we're a landmark building here, but that's the exterior. The interior, even the courtyard, they could do anything they wanted to with. It's not landmarked. It's not protected by the landmark. So, seats in a theater don't come under that.
That's true. The Ed Sullivan Theater has been redone any number of times, and it's a landmark
for many shows.
Yeah.
But I used to, before I used the CPAP machine, I used to fall asleep in the theater and snore. And people would complain.
I would too. At $190 a ticket, you goddamn right I would complain.
And I snore like I have megaphones,
Yeah. Yeah. I've been snoring the last couple of nights, which is something I haven't done since I lost weight. So I worry that I'm
eating stuff you shouldn't.
No, I'm probably eating less, and I'm still, Tell you what happened to me last night. You have a Mac, right, Rob?
Yep.
You have a Mac, right, Phil? Do you have a Mac, Jeff? Yeah. Brian's the only one with a PC, right, Brian?
Correct. I have an iPhone, but it's an iPhone 6S. It's older.
So here's what I did with the new machine.
They're
right? I hooked it up to my old what do you call it? Backup drive, right? To get it start working. And I went to the backup drive and I looked and I saw that my old Mac Mini had a file in a folder in there. So I said, I don't need that anymore. And I dropped it into the waste basket. All right. Well, I went to...
Nice that you can recover from that.
Huh?
You can recover from a Mac wastebasket.
Not totally. Let me tell you what happened. So then I go and I decide I want to clean out the wastebasket because I like to keep my wastebaskets clean, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm the same.
And since I'm also, my main drive is an SST or SSD or whatever they call them, so I don't want to use up as much space as possible. I've already used up 150 gigs, all right? I don't want to use a lot of it, so I get rid of stuff when it's in the garbage can. Well, I went to go clear out the garbage can, and it goes deleting one file, deleting two files. Now it's up to deleting 100,000 files. Now it's up to deleting 200,000 files. By the time I hit 500,000, I decided to go to bed. What happened was I suppose the backup drive had an inordinate amount of files, and it had to go through each and every one of them and get rid of them. And finally, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I went in and looked there, and it had finally cleared itself out. But it must have taken 4 or 5 hours for the waste paper basket, or the waste basket to clean itself out. What kind of crap
did you have on your backup drive?
Well, it's just the backup files. Because every hour it goes and backs up, and then what can happen is you can have like 500,000 files as part of that backup. So I didn't realize that's what happened. So now I'm never going to do that again. If I get a new machine and I want to use the backup drive, I'm just going to reformat the backup drive and not have to spend hours upon hours watching this thing going. I mean, I hit over 500,000 files it was deleting.
So you like your Mac Pro, huh?
I love the Mac Pro. I love it so much that this machine, which is my Mac Pro, which I have always liked and I always considered my power machine, feels weak and sluggish by comparison. It is amazing what 12 cores will do.
Yeah.
And having that much memory headroom and so on, the SSD, or what do they call that drive? The SSD.
Yeah, SSD.
Yeah.
If you decide,
I have something like Final Cut Pro, and it just starts up like that.
If you decide to take your 64 meg of memory out and get and upgrade it to 128, I'll buy you 64 because I only have 16.
Oh, well, I don't think I want to upgrade to it. I don't care.
Oh, okay. You were saying that you could.
I could. All I have to do is pull it out and put the new ones in, but I have to buy them first, and
does that require you to do that, or can you buy the extra 64 to go to 128? Is there an empty
no, there's
slot?
only so many slots.
I think there's only 2 slots or 1 slot or whatever.
I hate to see what the bill for that would be.
At Newegg, it's for the 64. It was $525.
Wow.
That much?
Yeah.
Huh.
Last time I looked, that might have been 6 months ago, but it was.
So you know you're in for $1,000 easy for 128 gig of RAM.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Bet it's more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the chips are going to be double in size.
Well, let me see. I'm trying to think. Mine in here, I have 32 gigs of RAM, but I have about 8 slots that are filled up to do that. And I don't know how much they cost me. I don't think they were that much each. You know, they were.
That's different because you have you have 8 slots. Are there 8 slots on the the new one? I don't think so.
No,
it's different.
I opened the back and I think there may be 2, and it's that you have to get 2 of them in order to make it. Yeah.
So that takes the size of the chip.
Yeah.
That gets exponentially more expensive.
Yeah.
So you're going to have 2 64 gig chips to make 128 gig. Those are going to be some serious chips.
Well, I like having the 64 gigabyte headroom is fine for me. You know, that's more than I'll ever use. And you know, the only problem that I have is that, as I say, I try to not use the flash drive as much as possible. And so when I go into something like Final Cut Pro, I have to tell it that I don't want it to put the files on the flash drive. I want them to put it on the, you know.
Well, that I only put on the flash the operating system and the programs.
That makes no sense.
What do you mean?
It makes no sense to me because you're manipulating and working with the. I would use the workspace. In other words, if I'm working on a specific movie or a file, you're going to get the benefit of having the speed of the solid state on whatever you're rendering.
I have the Drobo, which has a solid state drive, turbo drive in it to make the.
Oh, okay, I got you. So you are working on a solid state drive then. Otherwise,
right.
you're doing all this work and you're rendering this file on the slow disk.
Right, because I have a.
I'll tell you though, I find that the 3.0s are very fast. They run as fast as my internals on the Mac Pro.
I see. As long as you're.
Well,
I'm happy.
I'm using Thunderbolt, so my drives are Thunderbolt drives.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
I just put my NAS up on eBay.
Yeah. How long will it be, Alex, until you get a Drobo?
I don't want a Drobo.
Yeah. All right. So, Rob, you put your NAS up for?
Yep.
You don't like it? Too loud?
I don't like it. It's too loud. The company won't replace it. They said they were going to. They asked me to send them a recording of the hum, and they responded back saying that that's kind of normal. And it drives me crazy having that thing humming while I'm in my office working, and I don't want it. I don't want it in my theater because I think it's too. I don't like the hum, and so I put it up on eBay tonight.
In fact, you don't like your QNAP, but I like mine, and mine is quiet.
You have no hum, nothing.
All I have is the clacking of the hard drives.
Wow. See, I have this constant. It's like a hum.
No, I don't have that. As a matter of fact, the only problem I had tonight is I was going down, I was fixing some wires, and it kept unplugging the QNAP. And so I finally figured out that it had as a block where you put the thing in, and it wasn't all the way seated in, so it was kind of going on and off. And every time it has to reboot, it takes like 5 minutes. You know?
If this thing is going you might want to say namaste, and maybe it'll stop.
I knew you were going there.
Yeah, he was going somewhere. Hey, by the way, if Kevin is listening, thank you, Kevin, for writing and asking about how good I feel or don't feel from that fall that I put up on the internet. Okay.
Yeah. I saw you went down like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, I certainly did. I went down.
You know, so the Bennett family seems to be, taking it on the sidewalk quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. Something similar on your profile, Alex.
Yeah.
Less than a month ago, or like 2 months ago, your wife had something similar happen to her, and now this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you see the tourist that pushed you, Alex, or was it Marjorie?
No, there was no tourist that pushed me.
It was the sidewalk. That damn sidewalk went and pushed him down.
Right.
Jumped up in front of him.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, it wasn't a tourist. I was lucky that it wasn't a tourist. So, you know,
and it was a mugger.
Right, it was a mugger. Anyway, but thanks to Kevin for asking about me.
What is that?
Huh?
What is that?
What?
Some sort of light, LED? Yeah.
The hell is that?
It's Halloween.
No, I have to start it up again. It's a little. See those little lights there? And
yeah.
Where the hell did you get that?
Huh?
It's a flasher.
Well,
where the hell did you get that?
What happened was Albert used to like to go to this store that was near where the TV studio was, where we used to do the show from, and we would go in and buy little gadgets, like he'd be having a party, so he wanted to have it for everybody, for all his friends and so on. So I said, okay, what do we want? And he found these things, and we bought a bunch of them. This one is not a good one, though. The other one was better. It fit in my mouth better. So
have you ever seen people wear those Bubba teeth? Bubba teeth. They're like that, except they look like Snagglepuss, and they're called Bubba teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know where to get them?
But anyway, oh well, forget it. I just thought I would do it.
And every dentist I know, I ask them, can you make me a set of fangs? Like a Dracula fangs?
I have them. They're awesome.
You do? Yeah.
Yep.
Did you have them made for you, or
no.
Did you buy them online?
I'll show you them if I can find them here.
Well, here's
they're not expensive.
Halloween. Those are great.
This is my other favorite thing. This is
Super Ball.
The Super Ball that I got. That if you bounce it, right? Now, let me turn my camera on so people can see it. Look at what it does.
No battery.
Huh? Do you know
battery?
I have had this since I'd say 1998. And it still works.
I guess Tesla was right.
It was from some kind of trade show.
Yeah.
And people were fighting to get these things because because they're like Super Balls, they bounce really high too. And every time you bounce them, the light goes on. And here it is. Almost 20 years later, and this thing is still lighting up. So and I can't even see if there's a battery in there or whatever, but it
can't be a battery in there.
It's got to be something else. Yeah.
Yeah. It has to work like those flashlights that you shake.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
What do they call that? Kinetic energy or something?
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Here's Rob with his fangs. Let me.
Very nice.
There we go. There he is. Oh, those are
great.
Bang.
Yeah.
Yep. They're like real teeth, and it's only 2 caps that go on my incisors. Yeah. And I got it at a mail order Halloween place, and basically they lock in pretty good. And basically what they are, here we go. Basically what they are is they're molded to your teeth. You put this stuff in them, and then you put it right on your tooth, and it molds right onto the, and they stay.
Wow.
I ate with them.
That's great.
Wow.
Whoa.
I can always tell it's Ray Renati at the gym.
Hey, it's just me.
Basically, I can tell it because we hear the air conditioner in the gym. Because that fan
those
overhead.
are the bikes. Those are like all the machines whizzing. I'm
really?
gonna turn the sound off. Hello.
I'm wondering why, and I've never been able to figure this out. why they didn't take those bikes and hook them up to generators so that they're producing electrical energy while you people are working out.
Wow. I think you just thought of an incredible, startup.
Who knows? Maybe they are doing that.
Somewhere, probably.
You know.
Could run a few light bulbs.
Because if you're going to go into a place like that and act like a gerbil, we may as well treat you like one.
You know,
Careful talking about the gerbils. Brian might get excited.
When they had that Occupy Oakland, I went to the Occupy area where they were had all the tents, and I was doing
coming from someone who has yet to use the shower in the gym.
Yeah, I was doing some photography, and they had a bicycle there that people could generate electricity. It was just like a regular bicycle, but it was hooked up to something that would generate some electricity. It's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess I'm gonna have to quit my my job as a in the military service, because now I can't wear a dress any longer.
What's there? 400 transgender people in the military, and military had to pay for their sex change issues.
No. They didn't have to pay for their sex change.
Well, why did they not allow them to be in the military? I thought that's what Trump said.
No, they allowed them to be in the military. They didn't allow them to exercise their sexual choice. In other words, to grow long hair, dress as a female soldier.
There's a term for it.
What?
There's a term for it. For what they're not saying transgendered aren't allowed. There's a term for the specific affliction. I don't know. That's not the right word. I'm trying to think of the. No, again, it's not a choice. I mean, nobody chooses that. But there's a name for it. I heard it today, and for the life of me, can't remember what it's called. But there's a name for it.
I think it's he/she's.
Hermaphrodite.
No,
we haven't heard that term in years. He/she's.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He/she.
Yeah.
I'm looking for it. I'm trying to find the story.
Mm-hmm.
Brian seems to.
Yeah, Brian.
All kidding aside, I know you're jostling with that remark of yours, Alex and Rob and all that. But last time I checked, those who were transgendered, male to female, female to male, weren't wearing anything other than what was expected of them to uniform-wise.
Well, no, you're talking about people who had gone through the sex change.
Correct.
Okay.
Or even those who haven't, but still identify
probably
as the
someone who had gone through the sex change wasn't going to wind up in the military. I mean, it just would be too difficult. All right.
Didn't Bruce Jenner volunteer?
No, there's a good example with Bruce Jenner. I mean, Bruce Jenner is not a sex change. Bruce Jenner simply decides to dress as a woman and to live his life as a woman.
I thought Caitlyn Jenner already went through the surgery.
Oh, no.
How'd she get those tits?
But nevertheless, she still identifies as a she. She still identifies herself as Caitlyn. So she is Caitlyn. She is no longer Bruce.
Right, but she is not. What can we call it? Anatomically altered.
She hasn't lost her junk.
Yeah.
So the term that there is called a condition known as gender dysphoria.
But there's another. You call your car. A lot of guys refer to their cars with feminine pronouns.
Right.
So just because she doesn't fit, Caitlyn, doesn't fit the prototypical, doesn't fit the archetypal definition of a full-fledged female, doesn't invalidate that she's a female. She is a female.
She thinks she is.
Well, we're going to have to distinguish here between biological and
right.
What you believe yourself to feel comfortable being. Okay.
Psychological.
Some people used to describe it as being a woman trapped in a man's body. Okay.
Yeah.
And
there are people who are born with both with both equipment or with varying.
Well, you look at Chaz Bono. Chaz Bono made the switch. Right?
No,
there are many nuances
absolutely not
in that community.
Absolutely
many
not. Chaz Bono is still a female gender-wise. Yeah. Yeah. I saw an interview with him. And he said that he decided he wasn't going to get the gender reassignment, as it's called sometimes, because he just didn't think he was ready for that, but that he was living his life as a man, but that he still had the equipment of a female. So, yes, Ray.
Mute.
Sorry, I had to turn off my mic. I just want to say I have a very good friend, and he was going to go on a Broadway tour as a man, and he just couldn't take it anymore. I mean, he was like, he had always felt like he was not a man, so he just became a woman, and it ruined his career. But I mean, she feels like she's herself now. I mean, to say these people make a choice and all this, I guess he did make a choice, but he made a choice to finally be
made a hard
happier.
choice.
Yeah, it was brutal. I'll tell you that right now.
Who would willingly choose?
Years,
right?
Like that.
Took him years to deal with it. So,
and I would imagine with all the drugs and everything, there's all sorts of side effects and things that they have to.
Absolutely.
Well, they manage it pretty well, though. I mean, they go really slow.
But do they even really know what the real long-term effects of all those hormones are?
No, but the thing is like, you only live a certain amount of time anyway. You might as well make the most out of it.
Yeah, that's also a valid point.
See, Alex, if you become a woman, they'll give you the hormones so that you wouldn't have prostate cancer.
I see. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make one other addendum to that, to say nothing of those who can't get the surgery because they can't afford it, because they're poor or lower income. I forgot to add that. I thought that was a factor to take into consideration as well, talking point wise.
Yeah, it's a. I'll tell you, it's unfortunately, it's a subject that is not going to get. How do I put this? It's not going to get a lot of sympathy from the average
Unfortunately.
American. Well, no, you say unfortunately, but I mean, you don't feel comfortable.
They keep them separate, Phil.
Some people don't feel comfortable with the subject matter, and I can't.
If they're bashing them,
no,
they should feel uncomfortable.
Wait a minute. We're not talking about. Let's say they do not lie. They cannot get with the concept. Okay, they can't get with the concept. That's for starters.
Better get on board.
Oh no, let me finish. They can't get with the concept, and so therefore but they don't do anything to make those people feel uncomfortable. They just don't get into the concept.
Oh.
So in that case, are we to sit around and make light of them or call them nasty names because they are because they don't agree with that particular lifestyle? As long as they don't impinge on that person's having that lifestyle. You get what I'm saying?
It's one thing to make remarks about people you know and are good friends with, if they happen to be trans or if they happen to be gay or if they happen to be of a different race than you, so on and so forth, different economic class, because you know each other and you can rib each other like that. But otherwise, no, it's not acceptable. Not at all.
Well, I had a friend.
Where did it go from the medical treatments to acceptability? I thought, for instance, that's why I asked, what do they do in prisons? Do the medical facilities in the prison pay for the transgender? Let's say they started to become transgender and physically.
What are you so worried about the government paying for the operations for? Why does this seem to be a sticking point with you?
Because this is why the Supreme Court, I understood.
No, that wasn't the reason why at all.
Well, that's what I heard in the news, is that that it was cited as the medical cost.
No. No. And to begin with, the Supreme Court is not going to make any judgment based on cost or on medical costs or whatever. They just did it because they felt they didn't. It was they didn't want to rule on it during this court period. Is what really happened.
Yeah, they're going to revisit it.
Yeah.
if Congress doesn't.
Phil's looking it up to see that
they said they're going to revisit it in 2020, spring 2020.
Yeah,
right during the election.
Yeah, right.
Hopefully, when his fat ass is on his way out.
Also, the military stands up for their own. So, and the whole thing when you're in the military, whatever medical situation you have, they stick together and they give it to you when you're in actual. When you're actually serving.
But
that's just the way it is.
The Supreme Court
and it's not that many people. The cost is negligible.
400, I think.
What?
No, but some of them are already. But some of them are already in. It's like if they find out when they're in that they can't live that way, then that's the sticking point. But it's such a small number of people. It's negligible.
Yeah,
it's a negligible amount.
When you're talking about 2,000 people in the military, you're talking about just a piss in the bucket, you know.
Yeah,
but here's a thought about when you think about the financial part of this is if it becomes the norm to for the military to offer the surgery, then you're going to have people join the military for one purpose and one purpose only.
Yeah, but they didn't. I don't think anybody was offering them the operation. They weren't. That was not gender reassignment. Was not something the government necessarily had to pay the money for. It was not what we would call a. If the person has cancer, it's a medical treatment that's immediately needed. I think in this case they feel this is optional surgery. All right, that's what I think, and to get America to look at it in any other way. I mean, I think that if somebody wants to live his life as a woman, wants to do the Caitlyn Jenner thing and be in the military, I think that should be allowed, and that's what's not being allowed here. That's what the problem is. But
I agree. I mean, if someone's willing to go out there and fight for us and die and shoot the gun and do whatever they can, I don't care how they dress.
Exactly.
I mean, who gives a shit?
Exactly. But excuse me, I need to blow my nose. Oh boy, I've got a bloody nose all day. What is that? I give up. Anyway, but it's so I mean we'll see what happens, but it certainly is going to make it once again uncomfortable for a whole group of people who are getting used to being comfortable, and it's also a matter.
Thanks to Trump, the divisive son of a bitch that he is.
And it plays to his base, right? It plays to the religious right.
Yeah.
Well, I saw on CNN today they played a video of him saying how he was going to back the LGBTQ. Group completely in his presidency. There were like 3 or 4 times he said it explicitly in the campaign.
He also said Mexico was going to pay for a border wall too.
Right.
Exactly. It says here the CNN deal says service members diagnosed with gender dysphoria after joining the military can stay in the military if they don't require a change of gender and remain deployable.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is they don't want the burden of having to pay for it. That's what it sounds like.
Let me read a little further. It's a long article.
Yeah, and you read slowly. Anyway, and your lips move while you're reading too. Did you know that? What the hell? I just here's a story that I don't know how I feel about it, and I don't know. I've watched it over and over and over again, and I can't come to this whole story.
They're saying that if they want to start the transition,
was I talking?
And they'll be out for more than 12 months, then they're not deployable.
Yeah. Huh? Can I talk? I was starting to talk about something, and you interrupted me.
Oh, well, I did a good job of interrupting them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's your MO.
Tell me where I'm wrong on this thing. Have you seen the videos of this Indian and MAGA hat wearing
yes.
The confrontation? If you look at that, there are 2 ways of looking at that story. You can't, it just because the guy was staring at the Indian didn't mean he was disrespecting him. I mean, I don't see what other people are seeing in that, and I think they're making a bigger deal out of this than need to be made.
If you saw the 2-hour tape, which they talked about, I haven't seen it. It shows that there was no disrespect. You know, just like in any photography, I can highlight what I want people to see.
Well, everything's within the frame, and nobody sees what's outside the frame.
Yeah, but what took place prior
but the one
to
shot that they showed of that kid staring down the Indian or the Native American was. I couldn't figure out what the kid was doing, whether he was awed at what the guy was doing with his singing or whether he was making fun of him. I couldn't tell. Yes, Ray.
It wasn't just him. It was all the people in the background doing faux Indian chanting and laughing and making fun of the Indian.
I didn't think that, I didn't see them laughing. I saw them kind of like getting in. You could say they were getting into the spirit of what the guy was doing.
Yeah, well, they were probably drunk in the first place.
It sounded like it was an Atlanta Braves game.
I heard the American Indian guy interviewed. He said there were two groups of people. They were about to fight. There was an African American group of people, and these Catholic white kids.
No, they were
Hebrew
more
Israelis.
Black,
whatever.
Yeah.
So in a way, it just everything got provoked because he tried to make peace.
The Indian,
I guess.
the Native
and
American. I keep calling them Indians. It's wrong of me.
Native
American put himself in between them to try and make peace. Yeah. But I don't see where these kids were necessarily in the face of this Native American. It almost looked like they were enjoying what he was doing. There are two ways. Yeah, then there are other videos of it that seem to point that out. It's hard to tell. I just feel that this story is it's kind of a non-story. And
I don't know. When I look at it, I think that kid is in his personal space. It just doesn't look like he's enjoying it. He was so close to him, and that's what to me looked confrontational.
Was the guy with the drum close to the kid?
The guy with the drum actually got in the face of the kid. Yes.
Because he was putting himself inches away from the leader's face.
No, it was the other way around.
It's hard to really tell, and I think it's
what I'm saying is that here is this video, and they take this video and they put it on television, and then they interpret what's happening as they want to see it, as they want to see it. But all the time, let me finish. Every time I've watched that video, I see a different thing, depending on how I want to parse that video. Yes,
exactly.
I think it's one of those things where you had to be there to know.
Yes,
the people at the school wanted to condemn those kids right off the bat, so it was kind of like they were too quick to condemn. And get the full story.
Brian's got his hand up. Brian?
Fake news.
Okay. I have a slightly different take on this that slightly deviates from the narrative here, in that I believe that whether it's to advance a left-wing cause or a right-wing cause, portraying minors and blowing them up on all kinds of media outlets is a no-no, or at least I believe it should be construed as such. I say this in regards to snarky memes that have also been made of people like Barron Trump, in addition to, in the past, to use history, Chelsea Clinton.
Yeah.
So,
well,
they have a hard enough time as it is.
You think that these kids, no matter what they were doing, should not have been put on television doing this
unless
because
they're
of their
doing
age.
Something criminal and illegal. I don't think they should be.
Well, I mean, all I'm saying is that what I saw is they put this video on the air, and it's kind of like Rorschach. You can see anything in it that you want to. And one time I watch it, and I go, the kid is kind of, if you look at the kid, he almost looks like he's amazed at this chanting.
It almost looks to me, on a personal note, that he has a smug look on his face, much like
he was interviewed.
Brett Kavanaugh, but nevertheless, he is a minor. No,
he was interviewed, and he said that he didn't want to create a scene, and that he was just going to sit there, watch what was going on, and smile.
From what I understand, they've been expelled as well, haven't they?
Well, no, not anymore, I don't think. But see, what was happening for an hour or so prior, this very militant group called the Black Hebrew Israelites were calling these kids with the MAGA hats.
It isn't Hebrew Israelites; it's Hebrew Christians or something.
No. It's Israelites. Black Hebrew Israelites. Now, I don't think they have anything to do with Israel, but they're and they've been around for a long, long time. But what happened was they were giving all sorts of expletives at the group of Christian kids in the MAGA hats.
They were saying a lot of wacky stuff about, like,
to begin with,
babies of incest, and
they were
calling them every name under the sun.
They
didn't react.
Hold on a second. They weren't Christian kids. They were Catholic kids.
Same thing.
No, no, not the same thing.
Yeah, when they confess, they do the same thing.
I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
Catholics are Christians.
Well, I don't usually call them Christians. Christians are like all the other guys, the Lutherans.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The
Catholics are the elite ones.
The Catholics have their own dogma.
You're talking about the difference between Catholicism and Protestantism.
Exactly. Yeah, I would consider the Protestants Christians. I would consider the Catholics. So.
Yeah. And they all started out as Jews.
Eventually, at one point. But all I'm saying is that these kids, whatever went on there, it's being interpreted in all the wrong ways. Everybody's taking advantage of the situation and it's like a Rorschach test. What do you see in this thing? And then somebody goes, "Oh, it's terrible what that kid's doing. Those kids should be banned from school," and blah blah blah. And
I think you're an editor, Alex. You know what you can do with video. You know that you can take a piece of video and make it look any way you want. That's the art of editing video, right? Yeah. You can take a scene. If you showed the raw footage, it would look one way. You can then cut that video to make it show any point of view you want. I mean, that's the art of it, and we as Americans need to begin to realize that.
We don't even know why these kids are wearing the MAGA hats. They may have been doing that as a put-on.
No, they were there over some sort of abortion issue. Wasn't it the Women's March that was taking place at the same time?
I don't think so.
Yeah. But Ray, there's why the Jews created Christians? So there'd be somebody to pay retail.
Yeah, probably true.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Jews are always getting it wholesale.
Nothing like good anti-Semitic humor here on the program. That's good.
I think it was just a highly charged situation, and everybody was kind of on edge, and to just put it all on the kids is a mistake. And like you said, I mean, you can edit video any way you want.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I have a couple of things here that I wanted to get to. Number one is we have yet another woman who has entered the race for president. And of all the women involved, she's the only one that I can kind of even get behind on any level, and that's Kamala Harris.
Get behind her in what way?
Any way she'll let me.
Push her down?
Actually, but no, she, I hate Kirsten Gillibrand because of what she did to Al Franken. And I absolutely abhor, what's her name? Pocahontas.
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren. I just find she's just gotten to the point where it's like, are you really running for president? Do you think this is the way you do it?
I also have other news, presidential run-wise.
But wait a minute, let me finish. But Kamala Harris, I saw the other day, and I kind of liked her. I she's only been in the Senate for 2 years, but she has. There are things you got to have in order to run for president, and one of them these days is nobody knows who the fuck you are. And the reason for that is you don't have this record. Like I can sit here and say, I don't like Elizabeth Warren because she has a record. And I don't like Kirsten Gillibrand, because of what she did to Al Franken, she has a record. But Kamala Harris is so new and attractive.
Kamala Harris.
Well, let me finish. Will you let me finish? Will you let me finish, Phil? Phil, will you let me finish? She's not a nutcase.
Yeah.
No, she's not.
And she's a left-wing nutcase, and she will not translate across this country. Maybe in California they'll vote. Maybe in California they'd vote for her, but and New York. But the rest of the country, she can write that off.
The fact that you hate her that much is enough for me to vote for her. Yes, Brian.
Phil, you think I'm
Brian?
Okay. My defense, not that it's much of one. When you were paused there, I thought you were finished talking, but I apologize. Anyhow,
he does that.
Gay. It's Pete Buttigieg from, I guess he's from South Bend, Indiana. He's a South Bend mayor. He's openly gay, and he's thrown his hat in the ring apparently for 2020 for the Democratic nomination.
All right. Well, good. We will have a gay president. We will have a gay black president. We will have any number of different presidents before we ever have a Jewish president.
That's right. That's why.
You really believe that?
Yes.
Oh yeah. They'll never vote for a Jew.
Or you know what? They'll vote for a Jew over an atheist.
Well, Bernie Sanders, but he's just as big a nutcase as Ocasio and.
I love Ocasio.
I thought you would.
I think she's terrific. I think she is wonderful.
A socialist.
No, the fact that she pisses you off says everything about how good she is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Ray.
Ray was.
Phil, I think I'm a nutcase. I'm pretty sure I'm a nutcase.
Yeah.
I think we
all are.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know, just in case you didn't.
The only thing I heard about Kamala Harris that irked me a little bit is I heard that she might have had should we say, a relationship with
Willie Brown.
Willie Brown.
And she did have a relationship with Willie Brown.
Who's that?
Kamala Harris.
Former mayor.
Who's Billy Brown?
Willie Brown. He was the California Assembly Speaker and the mayor of San Francisco, and a power broker in California.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and an attorney. But
EFD, big fucking deal.
Well, he was very, very powerful in California politics, and he was banging Kamala Harris, and he
pronounced Kamala.
Basically
it's pronounced Kamala.
Yeah, Kamala.
So he was banging Kamala Harris, and what else?
And that's how she sort of rose up to prominence in San Francisco politics.
Not the worst thing someone's done. So what the fuck?
And then, the other thing with her is that she refuses to seek the death penalty when she was DA. She refused to seek the death penalty on any cop killers.
I agree.
An innocent person, I agree. 0.001% of the time can be convicted wrongfully. Then
I don't believe in the death penalty, Phil. But I do feel that if somebody kills a cop, that cop has more to protect him than I do. He has guns. He has two-way radios. He has a cop car. He has all these things.
It's okay to kill talk show hosts because they got a microphone they could throw at them, right? That
all I'm saying is you guys say, oh, well, they killed a cop. Hey man,
Phil,
he killed somebody at least who was carrying a gun, and he had a two-way radio and a bulletproof vest.
His life should not have to be sacrificed for him doing his
job.
Why
is my life any less? Why is my life any less important?
It is not any less important.
Yes,
but he's
it is.
there doing a service.
Well, you took the job. You took the job.
One time I agree with Phil, actually, because this guy has a gun, right? Like you said, he's got all those tools, but he also puts himself in harm's way where I don't, and I don't carry the gun and all that.
I put myself in harm's way. I live in Harlem.
And that's a gentrified area. You would think that that's like Midtown.
Wait a minute, Jeff, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I think there's other people who have risky jobs that are not policemen, that don't work for.
And do you think that if somebody kills a fireman while he's conducting his duties, or an EMT, that they should be protected with the death penalty so that they could do their jobs and have less hindrance? I don't disagree. I don't agree with.
No, I'm totally against the death penalty.
I have an argument
too.
I just want to
report. Yes.
Okay. Knowing fully well that there's always been cases of innocent people who have been executed. Mm-hmm. On the converse, those who have been caught red-handed in the act, I would believe, in spite of the fact that they are taking our tax dollars and shit, but there are fates worse than death, like not being allowed to be put down for many years while in a little box in solitary confinement before you expire. That, to me, is a punishment worse than death, and that is what they deserve.
Okay. All right. Yes, hello, Bree. How are you? Oh, look at him. He's at work. Yeah, he's got, is that work where you're at?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you look so professorial today. Jeez almighty.
I know.
Huh?
And it's early. It's early in the morning for him to, to have his tie all the way up. And that's not
I want to rub your head.
Either. That's not a clip-on.
It's not a clip-on. But, I've been going through this week. I have a chipped tooth. And I'm going to get it done tomorrow because I lecture Sunday through Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be a pretty big deal. I won't be able to talk, so I'm doing it tomorrow. But I went and saw 3 dentists for it. Last month I had to get a fixed tooth up here. And I believe that this one caused this one,
Yeah,
like it changed the bite.
Sometimes happens.
So I went back to the original dentist because it was an emergency thing on a Friday. But she's too expensive. I don't get a discount, but it was a Friday. So I went back to her to ask her about it. And she gave me a couple of options, and then she charged me a lot. And then I said, no, I'll be going to the neighborhood dentist who gives me a discount.
Bob just went to the dentist. Show Bree your teeth.
I put them away.
Oh, okay. Yes, thanks.
Well, today, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences bestowed upon us their latest group of nominees for awards here in the...
No, thanks.
And I voted we did our SAG Awards yesterday, Marjorie and I.
What did you vote for?
I voted, let's see, Best Actress, Melissa McCarthy. Best Actor, who did we do? I can't remember now. But anyway, we have here the Academy Awards. And if a picture had the name Black in it, this was the year to get nominated, because Black Panther and Black Klansman are both nominated for a Best Picture, neither of which comes close to anything that I would say was a Best Picture. All right.
I thought you said what was it, Green Room, or what was that race thing?
I'm going to finish.
Oh.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Trump is going to do his State of the Union in front of his rally crowd.
What?
Did you read that?
No.
Did you talk about that?
I don't know, but you're changing the subject here.
Sorry.
What is it?
I'm just waking up here.
He's going to do his State of the Union in front of those kids?
I think so.
He's talking about doing it in a rally. One of the, like, down in Alabama or something.
Oh, jeez.
Doing the State of the Union address. I won't even watch it. I wouldn't entertain that.
Fuck no. I didn't watch the last State of the Union. I sure as shit won't watch this one either.
Anyway,
I didn't even watch the joint session of Congress.
Oh, well, forget it. I won't even talk about the movies. Nobody cares.
Sorry.
Nobody cares.
What was the one with the driver and the black entertainer?
Green Book.
Green Book, yeah.
Yeah.
So that didn't get anything?
Yeah, it got nominated for Best Picture. And Viggo Mortensen for Best Lead Actor, and for Best Supporting Actor, Mahershala Ali. Yeah, they got nominated. We also got, let's see, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, neither of which I liked. Green Book, which I liked. Roma, which I think is terrific, wonderful.
Yeah.
Star is Born, which
I liked Bohemian Rhapsody.
You did, really?
Yeah, I did, actually.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen any of them.
And Vice,
most of them
which
I haven't
is
seen.
Terrible.
But Roma is, I think, Green Book of Roma. I would love to see. I would be happy winning. Yes, Ray.
Hey, I have all the DVDs like sitting on my counter. Is it too late to vote?
No, the voting is on. You have to vote by Friday, I think.
Okay.
Because the awards are on Sunday, and like I have an Apple TV, so I just watch the things online.
I mean, to vote for SAG, is it too late to vote for SAG?
Yeah, but they have an app. They have an app for the SAG films.
Okay.
So you can watch them on your TV set if you have an Apple TV.
No, I have. I mean, they send me all the DVDs because I'm in SAG. I was wondering if it was too late.
They don't send all of
the.
They don't send all of the DVDs because I didn't.
No, I know.
I didn't get all. They didn't.
Well, you can get online.
Yeah.
Them online.
Yeah.
Now, Larry Brown said that he got the DVDs, but did he not watch them because he needs VHS?
Probably. Probably.
Super 8, I think it was.
Super, yeah.
Best Actor, Christian Bale for Vice, not very good. Bradley Cooper for A Star Is Born, so-so. Willem Dafoe
You didn't like
for
that movie
Eternity's
Vice?
Gate. What?
You didn't like the movie Vice?
No.
I wanted to see it.
I thought it was
Did you
terrible.
see it?
I thought it was just absolutely terrible. Okay?
But they did to Cheney in that movie.
No, it isn't a question of what they did to Cheney.
I know.
It's just that it just is such a. You watch it and you say, "What's the purpose of this film? You know, what's it trying to do? What's it trying to accomplish?"
I like the promo on it. I thought it was very stylistic in the area. I just wanted to, but whatever.
Well, you know, if you hate Cheney, then I suppose you'll like seeing them make fun of Cheney and Bush, but it's a one-dimensional picture that way.
Plus, I like Christian Bale. I think he's a great actor. But apparently, the writing's not that great. So
yeah, but and then you got Rami Malek as Bohemian Rhapsody and Viggo Mortensen for Green Book. Lead actress Yalitza Aparicio for Roma. She was terrific. Glenn Close for The Wife, which my wife watched part of and said she couldn't stand it. Olivia Colman is a very good actress in The Favorite, but she is not my Lady Gaga for A Star Is Born, but she's not my choice. My choice is Melissa McCarthy in Can You Ever Forgive Me? She was just amazing. Just amazing. This is what acting is about. Yeah.
Hey, Alex.
Yes, Ray.
I have to say, I saw The Wife, and I have to completely disagree with Marjorie. Glenn Close was incredible in that movie.
I started watching it. I don't remember where. It may have been Netflix or Showtime or something. And I thought it was very good. I didn't finish it, but...
Her acting was just... I mean, I'm not going to say it was the best movie in the world, but she was outstanding.
Yeah.
I tend not to like films that she's in.
Yeah, I don't like Glenn Close either, but she was doing a very good job. Yeah.
But Melissa McCarthy...
Nicole Kidman.
Melissa McCarthy...
I always see Nicole Kidman as sort of... I don't know quite how to explain it, but sort of non-emotional and one-dimensional.
Yeah. But
I don't believe it.
Anyway, in supporting actor, Melissa McCarthy's terrific. Supporting actor, Mahershala Ali, Adam Driver for Black Klansman, Sam Elliott, A Star Is Born, okay. Richard Grant in Can You Ever Forgive Me? He was terrific. And Sam Rockwell in Vice. I would give it to Richard E. Grant. Supporting actress Amy Adams for Vice, Marina de Tavira for Roma, Regina King for If Beale Street Could Talk, Emma Stone for The Favorite, and Rachel Weisz for The Favorite. I think we did Emma Stone for the SAG Awards on that category. Best Director, Spike Lee for The Black Klansman, Pawai Pawankowski for Cold War, never heard of that, Yorgos Lanthimos for The Favorite, Alfonso Cuarón for Roma, and Adam McKay for Vice. I would give it personally myself to Alfonso Cuarón for Roma.
What about Michael Snyder?
He didn't get nominated.
No, he does the reviews.
For the best...
Alex, Melissa... Sorry. Melissa McCarthy got nominated for a Razzie as well.
So did Trump.
For the same film.
But no,
Trump... Yeah.
Not for the same film.
Trump did too.
Yeah. And so did Kellyanne Conway and Melissa McCarthy.
Anyway, the best animated feature, Incredibles 2, which was very good. what is it? Mirai. I never heard of that. Ralph Breaks the Internet and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but my favorite, and the one I want to see win, is Isle of Dogs. If you have not seen it, it is a wonderful animated film by Wes Anderson. And if you get the title...
It was here, but I didn't see it.
Well, the title is kind of a pun of sorts. Isle of Dogs, I Love Dogs, Isle of Dogs.
Alex, you must have a lot of time to watch films.
Well, we get them. You know.
Hey, Bree, are the films that we get here, are they adapted for the audience in Dubai? So
Yes,
they cut out certain things?
They do. Yeah, they're edited.
I mean,
they do that in Singapore as well. In Singapore, they tell you what they're doing and why. Here, they don't. It's just cut.
Well, like what?
Some films I've wanted my money back.
Really?
Yeah, like I made the mistake. Well, in Singapore, I went. This was before they were telling you what and why, but they do it now pretty much if you want to. I saw Lust, Caution, and I wanted my money back. But the ones here in Dubai, there are two that come to mind right away.
Yeah.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah. Which is a good film.
And Entourage.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could not understand them with the edits they made. It would have been better if they just said.
What do they remove? What do they remove?
They probably take out the sex, right?
They take out a lot of things, and you're never quite sure why. There was another one that comes to mind. There was one called. It starred the guy who is Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones, but he was in a movie called Gods of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
But here they call it Kings of Egypt, and every time they say God or something like, they have to say King, because they can't say God. So, but in Mad Max Fury Road, there's one scene where they're driving to where they're supposed to get ultimately, and the music is one way, and then it just automatically the music changes, and you're in another scene. It's like what happened? Like what? That's the penultimate scene in the film. Because they're spending most of the film getting there. What's there? And later I watched it in Germany on a DVD or something, and it was because I think there were naked bodies that were displayed as they entered this area or something.
Well, you know what I feel, how I feel about this? I blame the movie companies, because if you have a movie and they say in Dubai, well, the only way you're going to be able to show it is if we make these edits. And you say, well, go ahead. We want to show our movie in Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the movie company should say, fuck you. You don't change anything about our movie. You either take it the way it is or we're not going to release it in your country.
Yeah.
And then you, as a customer, don't get cheated.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I had another idea for here.
Mm-hmm.
When I go into the grocery store, I can go into a pork section. It says for non-Muslims. And I have to push a button and I can go in. I make the choice. I see the sign, I make the choice. So I feel that the movies should be the same way. They should just say, this movie is the edited version, this one is the unedited. If you go into the unedited, you have to sign your ticket. Something like that.
Or you know what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think they're doing it to keep you protected. I think they're doing it to foster their beliefs, and that they don't want that exposure. They believe it's blasphemy.
Look, I think there's more to it than that, Phil. I think that it's a matter of
control.
No, of customs. That when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And when in Dubai, do as the Dubai people do. But if I were a movie and they had to edit my film like it was confetti in order to show it in Dubai, I'm not going to go that far to get it shown in Dubai, because that's not the film I made.
Well, the odd thing is, Alex, that in Dubai, only about 10 to 12% of the population are actually locals.
Yeah.
So there's like 88% of us who come from, various areas. So I think it's a little difficult to, I can just watch it somewhere else, and I've been exposed to all of that. So I don't know. But it is interesting because they will card kids. So if it's PG-15, you have to be 15. They will card you.
Well, the question is how much editing goes on in a film, say, in China? Because the question here is, do you want to lose the Chinese market? It's such a huge market that you don't want to. So I think a lot of films are almost pre-censored when they're making them here, saying, well, this won't play well in China, so let's make sure we have an alternate take of this for the Chinese market. But when it comes to Dubai, you know, they're not going to make a separate cut of a film for Dubai. It's too small a market.
Yeah, so they might be doing it for the entire region.
Yeah, yeah. So, whatever.
The entire Middle East.
Yeah.
But I've noticed something that's a little peculiar, and that is that they didn't edit or ban a Bollywood film that eventually caused controversy between the Muslims and Hindi. It was called Padmavat, and I got to watch that in all its full glory.
Yeah.
And Tagalog movies from Philippines don't seem to be edited. You know, it's just the ones from Hollywood.
Nobody understands what they're saying, except my girlfriend.
Yeah.
My wife. She's Filipina.
Yeah.
The one right now is called Marry Me, Mary.
What was a movie years ago? The Bad Lieutenant. Did you ever see that?
Oh, yeah. Harvey Keitel.
Right.
That's a great movie.
I saw the movie, and I went, wow. And I was telling a girlfriend I had about it, and I said, this is a great movie. You got to see it.
It was a low-budget film, but it was great.
Well, let's go down to Blockbuster and get the film. So we went to Blockbuster and got the film. And Blockbuster had edited, would only take it in an edited version, and it may have been called The Mildly Bad Lieutenant. I mean, it was just terrible. They had cut out all the meaning of the film, everything, and this was Blockbuster doing this. They deserve to be out of business now.
Yeah. They had like a pseudo-Christian background a lot for years, as I recall. So
yeah,
par for the course.
Yeah, it was terrible. Just terrible what they did to the
Did you
film.
return all your tapes to Blockbuster?
But I went back to Blockbuster and I said, this is terrible what you've done to this film. I said, it's just horrid. I said, you should at least offer an alternative version, you know, rather than your edited version. And they said, no, this is the one we will only take here in Blockbuster. I went, well, and that's the last time I'm ever going to get a film from Blockbuster because I don't know what I'm getting. Anyway, that kind of wraps it up for our little soiree tonight. Rob Alfano, thank you so much for calling. As for Phil Meyer, thank you as well. Ray Renati, good to have you on. I don't know if he's still there or whether we're just getting his signal. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. There I am. I'm in the bathroom.
Brian Ludwig, thank you so much. Jeff Stein, of course, we want to thank you. And Bree, who's now a still frame, thank you so much as well. It's been great tonight. It's been a nice night tonight. Just kind of copacetic. Anyway, everybody, give a big wave goodbye to the folks out there in television land. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, and that's our panel for tonight. That's how they roll. That's how they do their thing. And I'm just signing out my Skype here so that the next show, which is Jack Bishop and the Intersection, can use it. I'll be back again tomorrow night. First of all, tomorrow evening we start with the arena with the franchise MC, and then that's at 8:30 Eastern Time, and then 9:30 Eastern Time. Yes, it's Damian Chaplin and the Exchange. I'll be back again tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.